Hi everybody, in this video I'm just going to walk you through the basics of using the MyLab simulations so you'll know what to expect when completing your simulation-based assignments, and each week you'll have about 2 of these. The other 2 assignments will be completed through Microsoft Office Online, and the simulation ones are just a simulated environment of a Windows, or rather Microsoft Office environment. And so when you open your simulation, the first thing you'll see is your main simulated screen of a Microsoft Word document. It's really important that you don't just click around because it will mark you incorrect if you don't follow the instructions step by step. So on the bottom here, we have this instruction panel. This gives you step-by-step directions for each task. And so make sure that you read the instructions carefully before you move forward, because they tell you exactly what task needs to be done. So you'll notice that right now we have in large bold print on the Home tab in the paragraph group, select the Show Hide to display the formatting marks in the document. So this is a task that you need to do to move on to the next. You'll notice that right below that, in light gray text, it says enter internship opportunities and then select the enter key 2 times. Okay, so this is actually the second step. So you only have to work on whatever is in this black larger font text before you move on. If you ever don't know how to do something or you get stuck, you can use the Learning Aids feature. This is going to give you access to the e-text, so you can click on read instructions. That's going to open the e-text. You can click on watch video. That of course is going to show you a brief video on how to complete that task. And then finally is a practice, which is going to walk you through the steps individually. After you click on the practice or do the watched video or even read the instructions, you'll still need to do that task on your own to move on. And so you'll also notice on the bottom here it says 1 of 16 and you have 15 attempts remaining. So this means that you have 15 attempts to complete each of the tasks. So if I were to click on this button here, you might have noticed that on the bottom it said incorrect action, and then the attempts remaining, if you notice, it went down 1. And so that's why it's really important that you don't waste your attempts on unnecessarily clicking anything that you might have. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to go up to my Home tab, look for my paragraph group, and then this is my Show Hide formatting. Okay, and I'm still on my first question out of 16. It's just broken up into different parts. Okay, so here I'm going to type in internship opportunities. Whenever you see blue text, that is what you're going to type. So after I type this out, I'm going to press enter 2 times, and then I'll continue typing everything that is in blue. And so let's see what happens if I have some errors in what I'm typing. So I'm gonna see what happens if I press enter. Notice that it marks it as incorrect. If you misspell anything, it's not going to move you on to the next task. So let's say I have nonprofit organizations, but I don't include the period, and I just press space. Notice that nothing happens. However, if I have a typo here, and then I press space, again, notice that nothing happens. So be very careful about your spelling. If you're ever wondering why isn't it letting you move on, it's most likely that you do have a typo. So let's see if I can fix this. Municipal clients and nonprofit organizations. I'll press my space bar and notice that now that I fixed everything, it says question complete, and it's brought me to the next question. So I'm on 2 out of 16. So if you ever, again, don't know how to do something or you get stuck, click on the learning aid. I would suggest either doing the watch video or the practice rather than reading the instructions. So let's see what happens when we click on practice. Okay, and so you'll notice that it walked me through those steps that I did along with it. Now that I've done that, I'm going to do that on my own. So I'll go up to my Insert tab, I'll click the down arrow next to my object, click Text from File, and then open up or insert that file. If you're using a Mac, certain keyboard shortcuts might not work for you. So maybe not directly in this specific assignment, but later on it might tell you to use like a Control-A or a Control-C keyboard shortcut. In that case, or it might even ask you to use your function row on your keyboard. So if you're using a Chromebook, you might not have a function row on the top row. What you would do is to click on this little keyboard icon, and then here's where you could use these keys here as your keyboard. But if you have all the buttons on your normal keyboard, you don't have to use this. Again, this is mainly for Mac and Chromebook users. So if you ever have to leave your computer for any reason and you can't finish, maybe all 16 of these tasks in one sitting, just make sure you click your Save button. It's going to save it for later. It does tell you that we can come back to it, and it's going to bring you back to the last question that you worked on. Once you get to the end of the 16 questions, it should automatically submit it for you. But you also have the option to submit. Just keep in mind that if you click your submit button, it's going to submit the entire assignment. And so let's say in this case, we're only on questions 3 of 16. If you click submit here, notice that it's going to tell you that you're going to submit an incomplete assignment. So just be very careful of that. You want to click your save button to automatically save it. But generally, MyLab has the ability to automatically save your work. If your computer crashes or maybe you lose internet, it'll automatically save. However, just for good habit, I strongly suggest that you click the save button instead of just relying on the automatic backup. And so that was it on how to complete your simulation assignments.